Now, before drawing the graph, you must also judge the scale. So if you see here, this x coordinate here ranges from 0 to 100. So what I have done here is, this is a 2 millimeter graph. Okay, so 100 is quite a little bit of out of range here. Okay, but we can manage with this. That is, if you take this 10 divisions as 10, then you can accommodate till 100 here. Okay, so 0 to 100 you can accommodate in the x-axis here. Okay, so you need to judge your scale, take as big as scale as you can. Okay, and you can take different scales in the x-axis and the y-axis. So what I have done here is, I have taken 10 divisions as 10 units. That means along x-axis, one division is equal to 1 unit. You should be writing here. So along x-axis, on the squares only, you are going to write your scale. One smallest division is equal to 1 unit. Now you see how to judge the scale for your y-axis. You see that y ranges from 0 till 200. So if I take, again, if I take 10 divisions here as 20, because if you start from 0 to 10, you will not be able to accommodate till 200. So if you are marking this as 10, 20, and you carry on, you will not be able to reach this 200 mark. So that is why what you do is, you take 10 divisions as 20 units. Okay, and in this case 20 units is students. So what you'll do here is, you'll give your label here, number of students. This is your cumulative frequency, number of students, and this is your marks. Okay, so that is why I have taken 20 units as 10 divisions as 20 units. And what are these divisions? 0 to 20 is the number of students, 20 to 40 is the number of students. That means how much is one division? If 10 divisions is 20 students here, that means one division is 2 students. So along y-axis, one smallest division is equal to 2 students. And let me not write unit here, should be marks. Along x-axis we are taking marks, right? One smallest division is equal to 1 mark. Okay, after writing the scale, now we shall plot the graph. So the first coordinate is 0 0, which is the origin. So what we are going to do here is, we're going to mark this. This is my first one, the origin, 0 0. This is the first coordinate. The next coordinates you see is 10 5. So 10 5 is, this is your 10, and 5 divisions will be, see, each along the y-axis, each division is 2. So one division you move 2 students, next division you move 2 students, and this should be somewhere around here. That is halfway mark between your second and third division will be your 5 students. So this is your coordinate 10 5. Okay, next one is 20 15. This is your 20, and 15 again, if you see, this is 20. So this is your 10 here till this part. In order to move 15, you'll have to move 2.5 divisions. So somewhere over here, you will get your 15. I'm sorry, this is 30. I was talking about 20. So 20 is uh, somewhere over here, 20 15. So this is your 20 15. Next coordinate is 30 29. This is your 30, and 29. You locate 30 first, 30, and this is your 20. So this here should be your 30. So 29 should be somewhere over here, just below your, just between the 29th and the 30th division. So this is your 30, 29. The next coordinate is 40, 50. This is easy to plot. So 40 you have here and 50 you have here. So this is 40, 50. The next is 50, 75. So 50 you have here. You move, this is your 80. So 75 should be somewhere over here, 2.5 divisions below 80. Okay, so this should be your 50, 75. The next is 60, 109. Okay, so you have your 60 here and you keep moving up. This is your 100. This point is your 100. Okay, so 109 would be this, next division would be 102. Next would be 104. Next division would be 106, 108, 109. So here should be your 109 here. 60, 109. Next 70, 145. So 70 you have, and you locate 140 here. 145 should be halfway between these two. Okay, so this is your 70, 145. Next is 80, 172. Locate 180. So 80, and you have 180 here, right? But you are to locate how much? 172. So okay, let's locate 170. 170 is between, halfway between 160 and 180. So this is your 170 mark. Okay, this is your 170 mark, and you are required to locate 172. So this should be just one division above the halfway mark. So this should be 6 divisions above 160. This is your 80, 172. Next is 90, 188. So 90 is here. You locate 190. 190 is here. So one division below 190. So this is your 90, 188. 90, 188. And the last one is actually a little out here. 100, 200. So 100 is say somewhere over here. And 200 is the maximum here. Let's say here we take this. Okay. So this is your 100, 200. Now once we have plotted the points, this is something that you must remember. Very, very important. And if you can, practice as much as possible. That you have to join all these points not with the help of a scale, but you will join these with the help of a freehand curve. With the help of a freehand curve. Now, how do you draw this freehand curve? You start from your origin and you take the aim first. That is, I am sure you cannot see the cursor, but you take the aim, just place your pencil above the paper a little, okay, and you take the aim and you start moving your finger on these points. Okay, you start moving your finger on these points. Don't write anything. I mean, don't make an impression. Just put your pencil above the plane of the paper and just start moving it over the points so that you know which direction you are going. Okay, from the starting till the end. And next time when you will be actually be drawing, you start from here and you start joining the points freehand. It should be a very, very smooth curve, no overwriting. Okay, this is your freehand curve. This curve is called an ogive. Okay, do not join with the help of a pencil, with the help of a scale. Do not join with the help of a, do not use a scale for ogives. You have to have a freehand curve. And remember, this freehand curve should be very smooth. Like say, if I'm drawing here, then your curve will look something like this. Okay, actually, you know what happens? I'll just give you an idea of how this entire curve will look like. This entire curve is actually a bell-shaped curve. When you'll be actually studying statistics later on, you will see that this entire curve, if you're drawing, this will be a bell-shaped curve like this. Okay, we are only drawing till this part. You're only drawing till this part. Okay, so that is why this curve will continuously increase and reach its peak somewhere over here, or maybe after this point also. You don't know. But definitely this part will resemble one side of a bell. Okay, sometimes you have it like this also. Okay, mostly you will have this kind of a shape. Let me just redraw it. If you're drawing on ogive, then to be very accurate, your bell shaped curve will look like this. Okay, and this, what will happen is, you see this line will continuously keep getting close to the x-axis, continuously keep getting close to the x-axis, but it will never touch the x-axis. Okay, so this is your bell-shaped curve. So remember, whenever you're drawing, so remember this kind of a figure here. We'll be only drawing till this part. Okay, we'll be only drawing this part here. This part we call as the ogive. Okay, so that is what you must remember. The curve should be smooth, no overwriting. If you have drawn a wrong curve, please erase it and do it in one stroke. Okay, remember to draw the curve in one single stroke. If you're drawing a curve, an ogive, draw it in one stroke. Do not lift your pencil. After taking aim, do not lift your pencil. Draw it in one single stroke, this way. Okay, so that is how you draw your ogive, and that is how roughly this curve will look like. So coming back to this is our ogive. Okay, now we shall answer the questions that are there. The first question here is to find out the median. So what is the median here? Median here we know is, what is the total frequency? Let us first write it down. Total frequency n is equal to 200. Therefore, median here is n by 2th observation, which is 200 by 2th observation, which is the 100th observation. Okay, so now we locate the 100th observation. Now, what is n here? Remember, n here is the number of students, right? Total number of students, in fact, right here, total number of students. So, number of students has been plotted in the y-axis here, if you see. So that is why when, just a minute. So here we have median is equal to 100th observation, and as I told you, n is the number of students here. So we look at the y-axis, which is the number of students. And what observation we need to look at? We need to locate the 100th observation. So along the y-axis, you try to locate the point 100. So this is your point 100, because we are looking for the 100th observation. Now what you do, with the help of a scale, you draw a line from this 100 from this 100, from this point 100, you draw a line and till this line intersects the graph here. Okay. And now from where the point intersects the graph, from here, you draw a perpendicular on the x-axis. So this is your perpendicular on the x-axis. Okay. Now the y coordinate, the point in the y-axis which we started with was 100, and the corresponding x coordinate that we are getting here, this should be our median. This is our median marks. Okay. Now, if you look at how much is the median here, if you count the divisions, you have 5 divisions here, and you have approximately 4 divisions here. 5 divisions here and 4 divisions here. So you have 9 divisions after 50. And what is the scale here? Along the x-axis, 1 division is 1 mark. So therefore, what should be the median? 5 divisions plus 4 divisions. Each division is 1 mark. And we are starting from 50 here. That means this should be 59 or 58 also, if you have counted 8 divisions. Okay, it seems that it should be 8. Yes, it should be 8. So this is 3 divisions, not 4. So this is 58. So therefore, median is equal to 100th observation is equal to 58. Okay, any questions here? Okay, next one is we'll follow exactly similarly for lower quartile and the upper quartile. Okay, so for the lower quartile, lower quartile Q1 is n by 4th observation. Q1 is n by 4th observation. N here is 200 divided by 4th observation, which is 50th observation. Now we try to locate the 50th observation, which is my 50th observation. Along the y-axis, you locate your 50, which is this point here. Now exactly as I had done for median, from here, with the help of a scale, you will draw a line and join it on this curve. Now from where this point curve intersects the from where this line that you have drawn intersects the curve, from that point you will draw a perpendicular on the x-axis. Okay, so this comes to 40, because actually the coordinate is only 40, 50. So if you have 50 divisions here, 50 students here, then this has to be 40. So clearly first quartile is, or the lower quartile is 40. Okay, so this answers your second question. Next question is upper quartile. Upper quartile Q3 is 3n by 4th observation, which is 3 into 200 divided by 4th observation. So this is actually 50 into 3, which is 150th observation. Now let's locate 150th observation from the graph. This point is your 150. Okay. So now from here, again, we'll draw a line to intersect the curve, the ogive. And from the point where this straight line intersects the ogive, we're going to draw a perpendicular on the x-axis. Okay, so this is one. And if you see, just erase this. If you see, now this is the corresponding point, which is this is your 150th observation. And the corresponding point in the x-axis, this is 70, and we are getting, I think, 3 divisions above 70. I think this is 3 divisions or 2 divisions. Let's take 2 divisions. This is 2 divisions here after 70. And each division along the x-axis is 1 mark. So that means 70 plus 2 is 72 marks. So this is 72. Let's write marks also. So upper quartile is 72 marks, lower quartile is 40 marks, and the median is 58 marks. Okay. So this is how to locate the median, upper quartile, and the lower quartile. And we shall answer the next question. First 3 questions have been answered: the median, the lower quartile, the upper quartile. Interquartile range, Q3 minus Q1. That one is easy. Interquartile range is upper quartile, Q3, minus the lower quartile, Q1. So this is 72 minus 40, which comes to 32. Okay, so this is 32 marks is your interquartile range. Semi-interquartile range. Next question is semi-interquartile range. Is Q3 minus Q1 divided by 2. Q3 minus Q1 we have already found out to be 32. So 32 divided by 2, which is 16 marks. Okay, this is your semi-interquartile range. And the sixth question, a crucial question. You need to understand this question. So this is done. Fourth one is done. And the fifth one is also done. This is number 6 and this is number 7. Number 6 actually. We write number 6 here. Yes, number 6. If you read question number 6, it said number of students scoring above 65 marks. Not number of students. Now here we are required to find out the number of students corresponding to 65 marks who are getting above 65 marks. So 65 marks is my initial value here. So in the x-axis, since I've plotted marks in the x-axis, I will locate 65 along the x-axis. So along the x-axis, if I locate 65, here should be your 65. This is your 65. This is your 65 marks. Now, since we are required to find out the number of students who got above 65 marks, so from this 65 as our initial reference point, we are going to draw a line from here such that it intersects the curve here. Now again, from the point where this intersects the curve, we are going to draw a perpendicular on the y-axis. Okay. So this is our point here. Now this many students have got, since as I told you, this is a less than type cumulative frequency. So therefore, this should be your point. This should be the number of students here. From here, this is the number of students who have got less than 65 marks. And what is this? How many students here? This comes to around how many divisions above 120? I think approximately 3 divisions. This is 3 divisions above 120. And each division along the y-axis is how many students? 2 students. So 120 plus 3 into 2, 6. That means 120 plus 6. So how many students got less than 65 marks? Number of students who got less than 65 marks is this point here. This point. And what is this point? This point here is no, this point here. This point. What is this point here? This point is 120, 130. This is your 120. Let me just check. This is, yeah, this is 130. So 120 above 120, 3 divisions above 120. So 120 plus 120 plus 3 divisions above 120, and each division is 2 students, right? So this is 120 plus 6. 126 got less than 65 marks. Hence, what is the number of students securing above 65 marks? Above 65 marks. If 126 students get less than 65 marks, then the number of students securing above 65 marks must be total number of students 200 minus number of students securing less than 65 marks. So this is, I think, 74. So 74 students have got above 65 marks. And the last question. The last question here is, if 10 students qualify for merit scholarship, find the minimum marks required to qualify. Only 10 students have qualified the merit scholarship. That means you start looking at the number of students. That is, you start looking at the y-axis. What is the reference point? 10. If 10 students have got the merit scholarship, that means they have got very high marks, right? So only how many students have got the merit scholarship? Only 10 students. And how many above from 200? How many is this? Is 10 students, right? Because each division is 2 students. That means 5 divisions is 10 students. So 10 students qualified for merit scholarship. So this is your reference point. Now from here, you are going to draw a line intersecting the ogive, and from this point you are going to draw a perpendicular on the x-axis because you want the marks. So this is, I think, 2 divisions above 90. So this is your point 90, and I think this length here is 2 divisions, and along x-axis each division is 1 mark. So how many students have got below uh, 92 marks? 10 students got above 92. See here, this is 10 students. 10 students only qualified for the scholarship, right? All the below students did not qualify. So that means number of students who got less than 92 marks is which part? Number of students who got less than 92 marks is this part. So number of students who got more than 92 marks is this part. So this is the part that will give you your percentage required for the merit scholarship. So percentage, um, not percentage, minimum marks for the merit scholarship. Number 7. Number of students who got below 92 marks is equal to 200 minus 10, because 10 students only qualify, so 190. And this 190 is the point that we started our reference point. Just 10 division, 5 divisions below 200. Hence, number of students who got above 92 marks, that is qualified for merit scholarship, is equal to 10, right? Hence, what is the minimum marks required? That is minimum marks required for merit scholarship is equal to 92 marks. So anyone who gets above 92 marks will qualify for merit scholarship. That's it. This is one problem from median.